Good morning. How are you today? I am Lynnette with Quality Sewing and Vacuum, and I am here today to talk about feet and how do I select the best foot for my project. They changed the title on me, so I had to look at my notes. So to start with, we're going to talk about 2 feet that are very, very similar that come with your machine. So the feet that we're going to talk about today, all of them are available for every single brand. So I am working on a Brother, but they are available for Fuff, Janome, Singer, Bernina, any machine you may have. So on the 2 feet that come with your machine, you will have 2 that look very, very similar. One is your standard foot that you'll use for utility stitches. So that's straight stitch, zigzag, all your normal sewing. The other one is considered a decorative stitch. Now you can see that the decorative stitch is a little bit wider, and that's going to allow a little more stability on your sewing. But the biggest difference is the back side. So if we look at the back, you can see that your utility is flat, where your deco has a groove. So the benefits to that are when you are doing decorative stitches that have any body to them, this foot with the groove is going to allow that to sew through and not bulk up. So if you've ever done decorative stitches, maybe your machine has a heart, a star, and they end up really squishy, that's most likely because you used your standard foot and there was nowhere for that built up thread to go. So those are the 2 that come with our machine. Now, 2 other feet that I absolutely love for other types of sewing, other than cottons and your everyday fabrics, are the Teflon foot. So the Teflon foot, again, it's available for every single machine. Sometimes they're metal, sometimes they're plastic. But on the back side, see if we can, you can see it has this coating, and it is actually Teflon, just like you would find on your pots and pans. It's also called a non-stick foot. You would want to use that if you're working with vinyls or things that tend to have a stick to them. That is going to allow it to sew easily. It's also going to avoid skip stitches and make your life a lot easier. The other foot that you also would use for normal sewing is called a roller foot. Again, comes in metal or plastic. So the roller foot has actual little rollers on it. And you're going to want to use that whenever you use polar fleece, minky, things like that. So you can see this has a little bit of a nap to it, and it has a little bit of a stretch to it. So what the ruler foot is going to do is it's going to, when we're sewing, glide and let this top go without leaving little marks in your fluff fabric. It's going to help with any of the stretch. Sometimes if you've sewn with some of the more difficult fabrics, when you get to the very end, that top piece is a little bit longer. That's because that top piece wasn't allowed to roll smoothly. So that's when your roller foot is going to come in handy. So, Carrie, is there any questions on the basic feet? Yeah. Okay, so let's go on to some more fun feet. One of my favorite feet is a rolled hem foot. And we actually are going to play with this one. So a rolled hem foot, you're going to use that when you do shears, napkins, things like that. You can see that it has this little roll. And there's the back side. So on this machine, my feet just snap on. I'm going to line it up, lower my foot, and we're on. Now, the rolled hem foot, oh, just joking, we didn't connect. There we go. The rolled hem foot, you're going to want to do what I call give it little cheater tails. So we're going to take just a couple stitches forward, and we're going to take a couple stitches backwards. Then we're going to make sure that we have some thread to hold on to. Now, with the wrong side up, you're going to feed those little threads through that roll, and you see how that's rolling the fabric for me? Oh, of course, since everybody is watching, it's not going to cooperate. Okay, so once we got that, we can fine tune it in there. And I'm going to hold my threads, start stitching so that it starts to grab. Once it's grabbed, there's a little guide or a little divot. You're going to roll your fabric against that, and you're going to keep your fabric flat on the other side. Readjust. When I get to the end, you can see that you have a perfect rolled hem. So it's going to be even along your edge. There's your back side. The rolled hem does come in a couple different sizes. This is a 1/4 inch, so your actual seam will be roughly 1/8 because it tucks it under, taking a 1/4 inch out of the edge of your fabric. So for edging, I lost my other foot. There it is. The next foot I would like to talk about is the blind hem foot. So the blind hem foot is for hemming up skirts. You can use it for home deck, all of that kind of stuff where you want to be able to adjust your sizing later. So if you look at the top, it has this little flange that goes down. And what that is that's a guide of where you're going to hold your fold. Okay, so first I'm going to attach it, and then I'll tell you how you would set up your fabric. All right, so here we have our fabric. First thing you're going to do is decide how big you would like your hem. Okay, so we'll just estimate here. Once you folded it up, you're going to pinch and fold it back down so you have approximately 1/4 inch little lip. Okay, we're going to set that on our machine so that that little fold lines up with the little flange. And then we are going to choose a blind hem stitch. Now the blind hem stitch typically has a straight or a little zigzag here, and every once in a while it's going to jump over here for us. So the one that has straight is for non-stretch. That's what I'm going to use. The one that has zigzag is for stretch, so you do not lose that movement. So you can see it's going to stitch and jump, stitch and jump. Okay, so we'll go ahead and do this whole little sample piece. All right, so what you can see is it sews really close right along the edge. So if you have any fraying concerns or anything like that, that's going to stop it from fraying. But once we open it and flatten it out, and typically you would use a color that matches, but I did use a blue so you could see it a little bit better, hopefully on the white. You can see every once in a while there's a little pick. So that is going to give you a really strong hold. Okay. All right, so the last foot I would like to talk about today is your BiLevel foot. So your BiLevel foot has quite a few different options. If we flip it over, you can see that it has just a small raised guide on the underneath. So a couple different times when you're going to use that. If on our fleece here, we want to add this pocket. This pocket is 2 to 3 layers depending on where it is. If we were to put our normal sewing foot on that, you can see it doesn't sit flat. it's going to want to shift a little bit. So the BiLevel foot, what it does is you would put that underneath up, and now it's 100% flat. So what that's going to do is it's going to make so that your fabric is easier to feed. It's going to keep it from puckering. It's going to keep it from shifting. It's just going to overall make, when you do different levels, add binding to fabrics, hem up jeans, work with denims, things like that, it's going to make your sewing much more enjoyable. So those are the feet I brought with me today. And if you are interested in learning more about feet, we do have in-person and virtual Foot of the Month classes at all of our locations. They are in January. The same curriculum is offered virtually in February. And I am Lynnette with Quality Sewing and Vacuum. And to find those classes, visit qualitysewing.com. Thank you.